studio door is open. Hold on.
Oh, you better close it.
Hold on.
It's the crab walk. That's my favorite ever.
Yeah. Hey, welcome. It is 1:01. We're a little late. It's a busy day.
It's the end of the school year. Don't judge us, people.
Yeah, don't judge unless ye be judged yourself. We are live. It is Lunch Talk, episode Cuatro Tres. Cuatro, I don't know. How do you say 43? We'll have to have Sam, my Latino at heart. I'm a horrible Hispanic. Horrible.
I'm judging.
Yeah, I know. I've forgotten it all. Anyways, it is Lunch Talk. We're going to talk about freedom culture in the workplace, the importance of it, and why Millennials and Gen Zers got this figured out. This is kind of my thought to it. We'll be right back with our special guest, Sam Tasker. I feel like my volume's still a little screwed up, so I'm going to pull my mic away. Be right back. Donnie, you got us? Awesome. Oh my God. Krista, wait till you see the new intro Donnie's working on. That was our crowd all excited for Sam Tasker. Welcome, Sam.
Hey guys. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah,
Here's a little fun fact, Rigo. First show I ever did, Sam was our guest.
Huh. Really?
Yes.
All right. Very cool. I did not know that.
Yeah, fun fact.
First
She's
show,
become a much more permanent fixture than I have also.
Well, the crowd kind of likes her, so sorry, Sam. Sorry, don't mean to. Oh, Donnie, we can always count on you in the sound effects. So you know what? We were talking about this earlier in a group call I had this morning, and actually, there was a few different posts, but one in particular post from a newfound friend of mine. Her name is Tyler DeGrand. She works for Valuetainment, and she put out this great post in regards to freedom in the workplace. So she works for a gentleman by the name of Patrick Bet-David. So he's a huge entrepreneur pushing the biggest entrepreneur channel on YouTube. It's got like 4.5 million followers. But anyways, one that I've enjoyed, and I was just really curious about what that's like working in a company like that. And she shared this great post. And, you know, I had a whole different topic today, Krista. And I was like, You know what?
Yes, you did.
Yes, I did.
Yes, you did. It's fine. I can be flexible.
And I'm like, hit the brakes. I want to do something different. And let me tell you why. So you want to hear something pretty cool, Sam? I think you'll like this. I guess I should probably tell everybody. Hey, listen, if you're watching live, do us a favor, drop a hashtag live. Let us know because that's what we need. Anyways, we're happy you're here and we're going to get into this conversation. But first, we're going to talk a little bit because that's what this is about. It's lunch talk. All right. So the other day, Michelle came up with this great idea and we're going through it. You can kill the music, done. And thank you. And we're like, hey, I've got this great idea. And we got the team involved and everybody got to create their own company swag. And I was like, we're going to get in, we're going to see who's got the best. And actually we might put it out and get get our market to kind of vote on it. Maybe we'll give those out. But it was really fun watching everybody get involved. And they came up with some of the coolest designs I've ever seen. And we got all these cool shirt designs and all these different graphics and all this other stuff. And each one of them got to order their own stuff. And I thought, you know what? Like, why do they need to brand the way I want to brand? Like, why don't I want to see how they see the company? What do they see as our culture? What do they see as something that they're proud of? And it was really cool watching each of them put their personal touch. We'll have to show everybody these phenomenal stuff and all different, but all around the core of who we are as a company at MW Partners and what we're doing. It was an unexpected gift for me as a business owner and founder to see my team like be inspired by who we are as a company, but more importantly, connect themselves to our brand, but in their way. It was a gift I didn't think I would receive. I just wanted to do something fun. And it's just falls right in line with this whole aspect and this concept. Like, what are we doing in our work culture today that allows our team to improve and grow in their personal place? Like, how are they becoming innovative if we're not giving them opportunities to thrive? Companies that bring in 1099 employees, performance based only. And you would look at this as a negative, but you're essentially giving an employee the entrepreneur slash entrepreneur position to create as much wealth as they want, but still be a part of a team. There's just so many elements to this when it comes to branding, understanding how to properly position themselves, building up their personal profiles in social selling and social media, because I'm sorry, but this is the future. If you're not building yourself a presence in social media, you are going to phase out. That just means you're ready to retire. I'm sorry, but that's what's going to happen, whether you like it or not. This is the future. And I look at how the culture's changing, how so many people are working at home and the freedoms they have to be a part of their personal life and a work environment. And not all jobs have that opportunity. Some are that's just the way they are. And I get it. But for those of us who do, I'm seeing so much innovation, so many new companies and concepts and ideas. I mean, look, Chris, at what you do. I mean, you are changing people's lives and you're training people how to become coaches in their own space, taking women and transforming them. And you're doing this all through an online setup. Could you imagine us trying to do this 10 years ago? Like it just
no. It would be so difficult. And I think, is one of the things that people say to me all the time, Rigo, is, are you really telling them like exactly how you're making that money, girl? And I'm like, yes, because Rigo, to, go along with what you're saying, everybody brings their own flavor to the process, to the system. So although their business mirrors what mine is, they bring their own flavor, they bring their own style, they bring their own people. And listen, there are so many people out there that need help. Nobody needs to do it exactly the way that I do. And so in essence, these coaches that I'm coaching and teaching, they are doing almost like an entrepreneurial take on this and making it their own. Everything from top to bottom.
No, totally. Sam, what's your take on this?
I'm thinking about what networking means when you said that a minute ago. And, it used to mean something a little bit more on a telephone or in person. And now the internet has developed and matured to a place where, you can be in any role. It's not just about sales and marketing. It could be about proposals. It could be about tax audits. It could be about engineering, and find people in other places who are sharing ideas and include yourself in that mix and become a face and a name with these platforms like LinkedIn that are professional places that don't have anything to do with necessarily looking for a job, but being aware, making people know who you are, and getting in this virtual space, this virtual town hall for your profession. You really couldn't do that in the past. So, when you think of it like that, it seems like that might help people bring down defenses about if that employer is representing me or themselves. I mean, that's a very binary conversation that we've got to get past. I think that's what I'm thinking about as you're talking about this.
Yeah.
What a great point. And it's, we harp on this a lot because I think it's a very important subject to really discuss. And we talked about this specifically just a show or two ago, but that's exactly it. When we say, like, who are you representing? Well, the question I think needs to be reversed. What are you trying to get me to separate myself from? You see, you hired me as an individual. I should be representing myself. That's who we are as a person in a company. I represent myself, my business that I work for, and the product or service will be represented by my behavior.
Yeah, and I think it should fit in that answer, that toolbox of what is continuous improvement to you. And I think it's expected that continuous improvement should be that I expose myself to other people like myself in professional networks to share and to be shared with. So it's not just about that typical old answer of continuous improvement of I read books and and understand quality. It's now about, are you tapping into these innovative tools that we didn't used to have to get into a broader network? And I think the answer has to be yes. You have to encourage it, but we're still running into different business models and different cultures, trying to feel through what that means and where to draw certain lines. Sometimes I think that is going to happen, and that may be some of the the consequence of what folks are still kind of learning about.
Yeah, you know what, and I think that's a great point. It's what there, you know what you know, right? You know what you don't know, and you don't know what you don't know, right? So there's some level of understanding that we have to be, as some of us grab a hold of the concept. What's that mean to prepare ourselves, to train ourselves, and understand how to develop in this new environment?
Mm-hmm.
So there are some things that companies and individuals as ourselves, even entrepreneurs, plenty, when you're a business owner, you start to find other business owners. And when you find some that are like-minded and you see them grabbing a hold of a concept or an innovative idea, I remember 6-7 years ago, I was really getting active in the LinkedIn setting. And I'm like, this is an amazing platform for what we're doing in a B2B sector. And I remember my employers feeling that this was not, and it was a waste of time. And where they wanted to put their marketing budgets were in other areas, contemporary advertising, things like magazines and whatnot. And I looked and I said, but I can't connect with an individual there. Like, I can't work with somebody. I can't do what I do, which is build a relationship. Oop, move my mic. Build a relationship with others on the other end through that method. I just have to hope that they see it. And I get that level of marketing is one element, but it didn't feel right. And things progressed. And then I started seeing the ability for video conferencing. And I was pushing for this. Hey, instead of flying everybody everywhere, well, let's have more engagement this way. We can hire outside. We don't have to have people move into the state. We can now open up our entire market and we can grow relationships this way. And I remember seeing that fight with the employer that I was a part of.
What's really interesting about that, Rigo, is my business for 7 years has been online. So when you asked the 10 years ago, could you imagine this? And I was almost like, is this a trick question? Because I was doing it.
Yeah, I know you were doing it a while ago.
Yeah.
But I also know you didn't have the success you have today.
So, and that goes back to marketing, right? Like the marketing approach and learning and growing with trends of the market. But as far as meetings and client acquisition and video conferencing and stuff like that. So when the pandemic happened and I saw all of these people freaking out, like, oh my gosh, my gym got shut down. Oh my gosh, our offices are shut down. I'm like, well, welcome to my world. This is where we've been rocking and rolling for the last 7 years, 4 years specifically.
There you go.
Go ahead.
Krista, yeah, you just made me think of
that. You got him excited, Krista. He's like, whoa.
Well, remember when this all started, right? 20 years ago, right? And we started having different applications that showed contacts and followers. Mm-hmm. In that same vein that we see our youth having when they're using social media, they're looking at that as a popularity index, right? It's that first level of, human kind of perception of, oh, they must be popular. And then that's it. Yeah. I think as LinkedIn grew, many of us were thinking, oh my gosh, what does this mean to have more followers? Why does this person have so many? Mm-hmm. And I think what we've really started to get better at the last probably 5 years is how to reel that back in, right? And to transform that or convert that or to cultivate that into relationships, into business. That's the difference.
So it's almost like the maturity of it, right, Sam? So like there was this immature freshman feel where like people notice and pay attention to me and I'm seeking that out. And then you're like, wait a second, this isn't translating to money or real connection or networking or friendship. So I got to dial that back in, work on my messaging, work on my marketing, know what the pillars are of this business to make true connections, and then have that move me forward in whatever success and momentum we want as a company, as an entrepreneur, or even as a person on a human level, right? And so it's fascinating because I would see all of these people that had 80,000, 200,000 followers, and they were making $0, which means they were making zero true connections, just like you did as a freshman when you walked onto a high school campus, right? Yeah, right. And then there were people that had, 2,000 followers that were cashing it in and making connections and networking and growing and getting invited to things. And so it really is this almost rite of passage and growth that you're right. I've seen that play out too. And we're in a really cool space right now because I think we understand that, right?
Yeah, I think our founders did, right? Your Dorseys, your Bezos, your Reeds. These guys started thinking about how to commercialize that network earlier, but I don't know if that really dawned on society as much. Like how many of us knew 10 years ago that 1 million followers equates to about $60,000 on YouTube?
Right.
Right. Now we all know that.
Yeah.
Now we're like, bing.
You know what? Let me stop real quick. Like, so I'm getting ready to put the kids to bed last night. We just finished moving. Oh my God. Anyways, I don't want to talk about that. I hate moving, and we do it so much.
Stop it.
We do it. I know, but we're not done. I know we're not. Anyways, so I'm putting the kids to bed, and we usually get them to bed a little bit earlier. So we give them a little bit of time. They have a small TV that they have in their room, but it's funny because we haven't had cable since, shoot. Donnie's like, I don't know. It was like, I shut it off when we were in California. So 2007, no satellite, no cable, no nothing. People are like, oh, no. It wasn't that we stopped watching TV. I saw in 2006, 2007, this is pointless. Mm. There is something different. It's called streaming. Mm. Like I can choose and pick what I want. Now, if I want to watch a sports program, I'll just pay for it instead of paying for everything I don't need. Right? I just get what I want. And we look at this process as I'm watching my children. They turn on YouTube. They find the people that they're following, what they like, and they're watching another person play a game.
Yes.
Okay? They're watching another person playing a game on YouTube, millions of followers. They're laughing like crazy. They love it. They're entertained. They'll tell me about something they saw, or they're watching something with just memes or whatever the place. And, and I think it's hilarious how what they find and what they get entertaining. And they've already built, this is what I'm talking about, this new culture, really the tail end of millennials really got it. Gen Z is the ones that I know are going to change it all. They're going to change it all because they have something that we never understood at their fingertips, and it could never go backwards, which is they understand that I get to pick and choose what I want and select what I want. I'm not stuck to hear information that I don't want to hear. Mm-hmm. Right? And I don't have to go to that business if I don't want to. I can go search and find what I want. And when we look at business owners, whether we are training our team or whether we are doing this as our own, we have no limit, but we continue to give ourselves a limit. We go back to training people internally. Instead of teaching and training them how to empower them, how to get out there, engage, create relationship, let other people associate what they find passionate to them personally with those individuals. It connects them in a different way to a company than ever before. But companies are just saying, well, no, this is your professional profile. Your job is here. This is in your role, whether, it's an operational role or a marketing role or an HR role. It doesn't matter. This is your role, and that's how you're going to stay in your lane, instead of saying this person is into rebuilding cars, this person is into fitness, this person is into anything, and letting that connection build out and letting people connect and grow together at that level. I mean, that's where people start to really connect with your business. and where an old school mentality says, well, no, we don't want to do that. But the new generation is saying, if I don't know what you like, I don't trust you. Right? I don't trust you. I need water.
Yeah, I think so. And I think there's still some places where there's differences, and you've got to sort that out. We've talked about that before, anticipating your culture, anticipating where your passions are going to work or not, and getting the coaching to do that. So it's a new tool. It's becoming more visible. We're witnessing this, and it's interesting to see where that's going to be in a few years, when your bigger, more standard sized companies find ways to evolve and even reach out beyond their marketing department for help and coaching to brand themselves and their teams. And I think that that's neat. That those are the conversations we're starting to have, where you don't have to get permission from legal or marketing to go out and create a LinkedIn profile and make a post related to your profession.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and where individuals are responsible for themselves in their personal branding, but have the support of their work environment and culture to teach and train them, just like we would teach and train employees how to have professional emails. To me, there's no difference, right? In a work environment, we teach people how to email properly, right? I don't know about you, Sam, Krista, you both have been in leadership roles. In the corporate world, both you and I, Sam, have spent plenty of years teaching and training our sales team, our professionals that work in our environment, how to properly communicate with our potential customer, or it doesn't matter what it is, but you know what I'm talking about. You've done this. I've done this. Where do you see the correlation? Do you see that any different into the future now of teaching and training people how to engage in social media?
I think it's getting easier for people to talk about it. I think the veil is down to use social. I think we've seen a lot, especially over the past few years, of people getting canceled from crazy things, and people are learning about the importance of etiquette online and how much it's a permanent fixture of your life. I don't think we thought of it like that, 15, 20 years ago. The conversations with young people and employees now start with these types of lessons we've learned, which is, hey, don't do this thing I did. Don't make that mistake so-and-so did. And it's maturing now into, well, let's get past the basics on fork and knife school of the internet. And get into how this can actually transform you as a professional. And those conversations are a lot less different than, don't do this and don't do that, as opposed to how do we make this more valuable, and how can you be more creative, and how can you be more of a contributor? That's neat to see that is happening now, because that's not what was happening 5 and 10 years ago. We were all afraid of how to deal with this in the corporate environment.
Yeah. And I think closing that knowledge gap on how to show up is really important. I can equate it to going to the gym, right? My least favorite thing is I'm, sitting on a bench and I'm doing, Arnold's or overhead press, and a man or a woman walks up in front of me, puts their butt right in front of me and starts curling their weights. And I'm like, because this is exactly what I want to look at, is your hiney while I'm trying to get my workout in. And so it's the same thing on the internet. Like, we can't have younger kids coming in without any rules or knowledge and information on how to show up and represent who they are well, along with the company that they are representing. So there has to be, that knowledge gap has to be closed, and we have to understand. And I also understand the older reservation of older people on social media in that world is there's a little bit of fear, right? Because you're like, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't want to be called out. I don't want somebody to think that was stupid. And so I think if we make it a point in our businesses and in our culture within, corporations, that this can be done and it can be done well, let me give you the tools for it, then that fear, those reservations, that anxiety goes away. And so that has to be a part of that learning structure. It has to be a part of that training when you come in and you're a part of something on social media.
Kristen, now, one of the things that I think is massively important that we recognize too is after COVID, the landscape has changed with the options, because we didn't do this for a couple months. We did it for 2 years. So the pandemic showed us that as a company, we could stay in business without having people in the office. It wasn't required. Now, there's a lot of benefits. We have an office environment. We have remote employees. I bring remote employees into the office, but we don't need to be here to function. We don't.
Yeah.
And I believe that a lot of individuals like myself, doesn't matter the age, but specifically the millennial and Gen Z, as they're coming up, have recognized that they can produce and create by engaging in a social setting, and they can do this in a remote setting. So they're looking for freedom. They're looking for companies that have freedom culture in their workplace. Here's a question I want to know. I want to know this from the audience, and I want to hear it from you guys, but how do you create that? Sam, how would you create that freedom culture to innovate in an environment? You're a CEO, you're a founder, you've been in many different executive roles, you've been with large companies, small companies. How do you do this? How do you innovate others?
Yeah, I think you have to give examples, and when we didn't have social media and social branding to talk about, we talked about, leadership books. We would have reading clubs. Some cultures don't do that. So they're not going to have a good social branding discussion either, right? So culturally, where you have good leadership focus, a continuous improvement focus, work this topic into that book club. Let's talk about social branding clubs. Let's look at influencers. You mentioned Betts David as a good one. We know of Cardone. We know of Gary Vee. Who are those names, and why are they influencers? Understanding some of those core concepts with the way social media works, as well as some of their values, which is something that cuts through everything, right? Be it a book club or the internet, like values cut through it all. And tying that into how you apply those values is now done on social media, right? COVID was like a shock to the heart for society to take all these tools and get online. And thank God it wasn't a decade ago, because we'd all be looking like Max Headroom with glitches, right? The bandwidth was so much better for it to happen now. Yeah. There's an optimistic perspective. And think about how many people did a massive change to their social, their comfort on video over the past 2 years. I think it's been so
good. That is such a good point. I can't tell you how many times I'd get on video calls before. I'd be like, turn on your and people wouldn't do it, right? Well, I'm in my house and I'm like, turn on your video, man. Like, that's the whole point of having a video call. Now, I mean, I was seeing companies that were doing great, like really funny stuff where they were showing up in costumes, or people were having fun with the whole environment. But now if you don't have a camera, I think the biggest, my company didn't buy me one. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. And going back to your original question, Rigo, is talking about freedom culture in the workplace, right? I will say all of my current coaches that are coming in to learn how to do this online business, that's exactly what they want. They no longer want to trade dollars for hours. They no longer want to go 5 days a week, 8 to 5, sit in an office where they know they're getting a fraction of the things done because of all of the interruptions or other coworkers or random meetings that are being set just to be set. And so a lot of who I'm coaching right now is they want to go to Costa Rica and be able to take their job with them. They want to go, with their families and experience life and be in a travel trailer for 30 days and still be able to financially support their family. And so I think what COVID also did was it opened up this world of hey, the traditional show up in your suit and tie 9 to 5 and grind it out. And you have to be in an office where your productivity is not as high as it could be if you just what you needed to handle, is a new thing that corporations and companies have to consider. I've seen a lot of shifts in this where it's hey, now we're going to do 3 days a week, 2 days a week, or remote. You're going to get much more loyalty and you're going to get much more productivity if you are giving people what they now know and understand is an option for them. And if you want to keep them and you want to keep good people, you've got to start thinking about these things because that's a part of buy-in and staying with your company and wanting to be there, right?
So much. And what's crazy, Chris, is that we already know statistically You know, companies now, large companies already know they're only going to get 60. Do you know this? That they only account for 60% efficiency.
Mm.
An employee is hired, well, for smaller companies, maybe they don't understand this, but these large companies, they already know that they're only going to get an efficiency of 60% from an employee. And so they're making their formulations based on that. And think about that, 60%. So how much time are they really investing in growing or doing the job that they have to do? Now, in all of this, obviously people need to be able to do their job, but freedom in the work culture to be who they need to be and to innovate comes, like you said, it comes with that ability to, I'm going to go to Costa Rica. I'm going to go and, we're having an event. Sam and I, and many of us in the renewable industry, we have an event next week.
Yeah.
And we're going to go down next week and we're going to work, and there's going to be some stuff we're not going to be able to do, but the guys are going to be able to grab their laptop, do stuff, but be engaged and be involved. And they're going because I want them to experience what's happening in the industry so that they can get a firsthand as they do a lot of the creative work. But more importantly, is because I want them to be able to come back with an experience that lets them continue to innovate on their own.
Yeah.
That lets them think and come up with concepts on their own on how we can expand to be better for our customers.
Yeah, completely. And some of my most creative and clarity moments in my business has not been while I've been sitting in this office. Last year, we went on a 27-day travel trailer adventure. We went to 5 different states and we traveled with our kids, and it was those quiet moments in the woods, and it was watching my kids, play on the beach of the lake, that I really had this, like, who am I serving and why is this important to me? And I had those moments of clarity because I wasn't in my office space where it is a little bit clouded by the mundane, tasky things that I have in my office. And so that is that freedom culture that you create that allows people to be innovative and creative, because you're allowing them to experience different things while they think about your business.
So, like, what are the things that you get to experience, Krista, through the freedoms of being an entrepreneur and business owner in your field? What are some of the things, like, if you're talking to the women out there right now that are in a place, they're not being given the space they need, they feel confined, they know that they have a passion for fitness, for health, for other women. Help me understand, because I know a lot about it, but let's talk to the viewers, help them understand the amount of freedom that you get to have doing what you're doing, and share that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, listen, anytime that you are working in your zone of genius, you are going to be much more passionate and excited and working in your flow, right? And when we're working in a job that does not feed our passion, that does not help us feel like we are contributing or impacting in a way that we know that we can. It's our God-given gift, right? When we are not using our God-given gifts, we feel this imprisonment. We feel this, we're not totally invested in where we're at. And you've got this pull on your heart. And so those are the women that I chat to. Like, they've got this job, they do well at it, they enjoy pieces and parts of it, but there's something that's pulling at their heart that says there's more to you than this. You have a bigger role in impacting other people for greatness and for better. And that seed has been planted in your heart. If that's something that you feel, and you feel that pull all the time, then that's who I talk to. Because when we work in our zone of genius, and you can create your own schedule, you can work with the people that you want to work with, you can speak to them in a way that you know is going to impact and change them forever. That freedom, I mean, that's freedom in and of itself. Working in your zone of genius is like the most incredible freedom that you can feel in your own life, in your own work that you do day in and day out with people. And so that's really, like, I mean, we've all been in a job where we're like, yeah, I'm just here, just going through the motions. I'm good at it. It's not hard. It pays the bills. That's not freedom for 99% of us. That is imprisonment. That is being stuck where you don't want to be. And so when I think of freedom within what I do, it's you get to show up the way that you want to, with the people that you want to, in the manner that you want to. And for me, that is creative freedom. For me, that is impact freedom. For me, that there's no ceiling on that. I can make it what I want. And so that's what I love to bring to the table for women who are thinking about what they want out of that next step, right? And where they are. Does that make sense? Did I answer your question?
It does. It does completely. So what are you doing now? Because I know that your business has grown from helping women find their personal freedom in their fitness and in their mindset. But now you've taken that a step further. And we haven't really talked a lot about this on the program. And I want to share this because I think it's important, and it ties in with this conversation. And if you guys haven't already noticed, we had Sam for 30 minutes. We didn't get a chance to say goodbye. Thank you very much, Sam, for being on. We appreciate it very much. But now I want to get into this with you, Krista, because I think what you're doing is important. And it's a perfect example of how somebody can be in an environment where they're not able to do this, to express this level of freedom that they want. And you have a way to solve that for this person.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll give you an example. One of my greatest client coaches that I've recently worked with, she is a high school teacher. And not only does she feel strapped down by how much she can earn, but she also feels strapped down by 9 months out of the year. I have to be here 7:45 to 3:30, and I have kids of my own. So I'm raising other people's kids while other people are raising my kids. And there is this cap on her ability to be present and enjoy and be a part of all of the things in her world that are important to her. And so in her heart, she knows that she can impact generations to come, other kids, other families, other parents. She's a really incredible softball coach in Arizona. And so she's already coaching and working with people. And so, we had a conversation. I said, well, let's monetize that. People need what you have to bring to the table. People want what you can do for them. So let's put a marketing, a brand, a logo. Let's start getting, some of those things in place. And Rigo, she is blowing the top off of what she thought her life had to be. There's this really old concept that we feel like we have to say, and especially for people like firefighters, police, teachers, where it hasn't changed in a million years. It's been the same thing. 10-month school year, we show up at this time, we leave at this time, and nothing changes. Well, with what has happened now, we don't have to play in those confines anymore. We just don't. And so at any moment you can choose and change and be different. And I'm telling you right now, she's bringing $15K in. I was a high school English teacher, a month. $15K a month. We just started a little less than a year ago. I was a high school English teacher, and I can tell you that I brought in $1,800 every 2 weeks. So in a month, and that's before taxes and retirement and insurance. So I was walking away with $1,300 every 2 weeks. She knew there was more for her. And now that she understands social selling, social marketing, the freedom that she can create for her and her family is beyond. And there's no cap on this, Rigo.
That's it. That's exactly. It's the freedom to work as hard as you want.
Yep.
It's the freedom to grow as much as you want. And, as we continue to develop here, it's one of the things, it's a challenge that I have right now for myself that I want to have, Krista, which is how can I inspire my team or give them an opportunity to execute the things that they're doing and have a freedom to create as much income as they want to create within this environment.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to get to that point. I want to build that for them because I want them to be prepared for wherever they decide to go, if this is not for them long term. But at the same time, I want to build an environment here that is so productive for them in a mental, emotional, and more, and financially.
Yeah.
In each of those areas that they don't want to leave.
Yeah.
And they continue to innovate and grow here. So we grow to the next level because that's how we're gonna get to the next level.
Totally. And here's what I think is really cool about that. Anybody who chooses, or anybody who grows out of your company, or anybody who grows out of my coaching, or anybody who grows out of my weight loss program, there's no way, if they showed up and did the work and really were 2 feet in while they spent time with me. And I know this is the same for you too, Rigo.
Yeah, they gotta show up and do the work.
Yeah, if they show up and they do the work, there's no possible way that they will walk away and not be a changed person. Yep. Because that's the culture that we create in K More Macro. It's the culture that we create in KMCA. I'm not just interested in helping you learn how to build a business, grow it, and make money. I'm interested in the person you become as you do it. And in my health and weight loss program, I'm not interested in helping you only lose the weight. We are going to lose the weight, but who you become, who you step into is so important to me. Yep. Along the way. It's not just the weight loss. It's not just the money. It's who you become as you get there that I'm invested in. And so, Rigo, there's no way that anybody could walk away and not be better for spending time with me, with K More Macro, with KMCA, because that is the structure, that is my heart, that is the environment that I've created, and I know that you've created as well. You will be a better father, a better wife, a better friend, a more spiritually connected person if you show up and you do the work and you understand and you learn. And that's
the point, right? Because we are not infallible,
right?
And we don't come in to pretend that way. We are broken. We are not perfect. We have made adjustments. We have learned through mistakes, and we come in with that behavior and attitude. You made a comment earlier. You said that you've had clients come in and say, "Wait, are you really showing all the secrets?"
Yeah.
And you say, "Yeah." Like I do the same thing. Like I just had this conversation with another gentleman who's building his own coaching program, and I was like, I show you everything.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Here, have it. Take it.
Take it. Like I want you to. First off, if you can come learn from my program, I learn from others. I take everything that I learned from other programs, coaches, mentors, different things I go and pay for. Like, first off, I think that, and they probably did the same, right? I spend 50 grand this year and then I charge you nothing for it. The likelihood that you do something with it, I already know, sadly.
Yeah.
Most people are looking for a magic.
My best coaches, Rigo, did the same thing. My best coaches were like, "Hey girl, come here. Let me show you." Of course I paid for it. Of course. I'm investing in my own future success. But my best coaches were like, "I'm going to give you everything and I want you to use it. It's yours. Take it, go, run, make it your own." Those were my best coaches. My coaches who were like, "Hey, here's a concept, but this is no. I mean,
yep.
You're worried about my success. And if you're worried about my success, then you're not invested in my success. You're worried about overcome, and you don't want that to happen, right? And that's the important thing too. I want you to succeed, and I don't care. Let me come alongside you and do this thing with you.
And that's the freedom that we're talking about, right? And when you look at that entrepreneur or just the employee, that's the freedom in the workplace that I'm talking about, where companies are saying, well, wait a second. I don't really like the idea that you're out there and you're building a personal brand. Like that scares me. Why? Why would that scare me as an employer? Well, because first off, what if our competition sees it? So what? You don't think your competition isn't getting information about you somewhere?
Can I tell you the greatest example that I've seen?
Please tell me.
Here's my favorite example that I've seen of this. So who on this channel does not know Starbucks? Like everybody knows who freaking Starbucks is, right? Like it's not a secret. Now, there is a gentleman, his handle on Instagram is the Macro Barista. So what he did was he worked at Starbucks. He was a barista at Starbucks, and he started macro tracking and got super lean and shredded, but he worked at Starbucks. And everybody would ask him, like, how do I make my Starbucks macro friendly? And he's like, oh, well, let me play around with the recipe. So every single day, every single week, he posts, hey, order your coffee like this, and these are the macros. Right? His account, Rigo, is skyrocketed. And listen, every time somebody comes to his account, they see his macro post in a Starbucks cup every time that somebody comes to his account. So now what he's done is he has his own t-shirt brand with his dog. And so now he's selling his dog t-shirts, and he's the macro barista still. And he also has a protein line, like a protein powder line. But every post that he has is, let me show you how to macro your Starbucks coffee. Starbucks was not like, excuse me, please don't do that. We don't like that. We don't like that millions of people are following you and getting recipes and coming to our store and buying more coffee.
Yeah.
They were like, please. And they probably, I don't know, but my guess is that Starbucks has given him a little, I mean, he still works at Starbucks. So
he still works there.
The last time I checked, he was still, I mean, how do you go in and make the coffee if you don't have access?
You know what? Yeah, I didn't think about that. No, that's perfect.
Right?
But that is a great example, because what is he doing? He's building his own personal brand.
And Starbucks doesn't care. They're like, man, because so many people are coming to Starbucks and they are exploring different recipes.
The biggest thing is that we have to be confident in what it is we're doing. To me, it shows a level of insecurity. And it's a fear. It's an insecurity and a fear. Listen, I don't want my team to leave. I don't want any of them to leave. We're a small business.
Yeah.
Like they're essential. All of them are essential. And I tell them this. At the same time, I'll crawl up their butt if they don't do something right. It doesn't mean I walk on eggshells with them. And I remind them, by the way, you screwed up, and I'm not one for sensitive feelings. Listen, that ain't me. Okay. But at the same time, then I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I yelled at Donnie, and I'm like, I'm sorry. Right? Yeah. I'm like, I'm sorry.
That's complicated because he's
right. Yeah. My son, so it's a little different. Yeah. Right. But that's the part I didn't like. I didn't like because I'm yelling at him over something that I'm doing as a father, not as his employer. Not as a leader. And I told him that was wrong of me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you're an adult, you're a grown adult, you're on your own, you're working here, and you're my son, but you're also a member of this team. And I wouldn't talk to anyone else that way.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't talk to you that way.
Yeah.
Right. And that's just part of working with family and learning these. But at the same time, again, there you go. I don't care. I'm not perfect. Yeah. We're not trying to be perfect. And we're trying to help people get to the next level. When you're with a large organization, the more, vulnerability or authenticity that is exposed, my opinion and what I am seeing growing very rapidly. I'm not the only one who's thinking this way, but the more authentic your employees become, the more we get to understand who they are, the more it exposes your culture.
Yeah.
And that, I believe, is where the fear is, because many companies possibly are afraid that this work culture doesn't fit what is happening now, and people have choices.
Yeah.
And the truth is that we should be working towards the other lane, saying, how do I build an environment that allows my team to thrive? Because if I'm only getting 60% efficiency, maybe by creating this new environment that gives them places to be innovative and dump ideas and just build and be a part of decisions that are being made by upper management based on the minds of those working with them. Maybe this is how companies are going to get to this next level. I'm excited to see what the next 5-10 years bring. Yeah. Look at companies like Google and Apple and oh my God, the Pixar. And I was just watching another documentary on Lucas, not Lucas Films, but the studio that, excuse me, that does all the sound clips, right? And watching, I mean, you're looking at all these companies that are massively innovative. What do they have? They have this completely different freedom work culture environment.
Yeah. And, I think you nailed it. What you said was you have to create an environment, right? Because here's the alternative to not creating an environment. It's trying to force people in being innovative and creative and representing their brand. Starbucks didn't come up to this guy and say, hey, here's the thing. We're going to need you to take this angle, and it would be so inauthentic. It would fall flat on its face. Right. But what Starbucks did was they created an environment where people could take this brand and make it their own. And this is what he decided to do on his end was, hey, I have the freedom to represent Starbucks the way that I want to. And so let me show you how. Grand Canyon University, which is, a big university here in Arizona, I did go to school there and play 2 sports. Let me just drop that in here. But they have
You're like, whoop, whoop,
yeah,
alumni.
let me just raise my own roof real quick. But they have college scholarships for the ultimate fan. If you don't think that that builds excitement and exposure, I mean, these kids are getting
Smart.
college scholarships to show up at basketball games, paint their bellies, shake their, pom-poms and be excited about being there. They're getting paid to go to school to do this. I mean, yes, sign me up. I want that job. So as a young person, I would think, if that school is giving that kind of, I want to be a part of that culture. And that is all helping Grand Canyon's universities clout and who they expose themselves to and what people see when they come to the games. And then it creates this innovative environment for students to really step in and do what they want with the brand of their school. So many companies are doing it and doing it well. What it can't be is it can't be forced.
That's exactly it. It has to be real. And it has to be authentic. And the best way to do that is ask your team how to build it. And I'll bring this example up, and it brought something that I cannot wait to do more of. And I said, what do I do from terms of, I don't want to impede on the freedom of my team, but I would like a little more branding. Now, if you look at mine, okay, it's a lot of grunt style type stuff. And so I have a lot of my branding that way. I have a lot of my clothing that way. Like I have my look, and I realized, well, maybe this isn't the look for my team. Donnie likes to wear shirts 2 sizes too small. He says they're a perfect fit. I don't think so. This was the discussion we had earlier today, right?
Yes. Oh, Donnie.
Oh, he's rolling his eyes. Hey, listen, he's in great shape. Fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
You wear those shirts too tight, my man.
You hear that? Or no, Krista, just right.
Just right. You wear them just right.
They fit just right. But the thing is I was wondering, how do I approach this? And my wife goes, why don't you just give them the opportunity to create their own company clothing?
Yeah.
And I was like,
oh, duh.
Okay, like, that's genius. Like right now, one of our guys, man, it's a dope shirt. Yeah, you'll see it. Like, I mean, some awesome stuff. And I was like, I love it. I ordered me a version of that. I was like, I want one of those because those are great. It just was so beautiful to see. And I can't wait to do more of it. I want, they're going to be creating their own workspaces for the virtual aspect of it. When people see them, I want them creating a nice space for themselves that represent them.
Yeah.
Because this has to be theirs. They have to own this. I don't expect them to do what I do as a founder, as a CEO. And you as a manager or a large corporation shouldn't expect that either. When you put them into a box, that day is gone. So if your company is still functioning at that level, you're just a time capsule getting ready to be buried. Your time is limited. And I'll say it, I'm sorry, but that is the reality. Those days are gone.
Yeah.
The future is coming. The youth are bringing a whole different environment, and they're bringing energy. And they're bringing energy that some of us are capturing and saying, I want to bottle that up and I'm going to use it.
Yeah.
Because they're bringing innovative ideas and they're bringing technology to play. And it's just going to get faster and it's going to get stronger because they're younger and younger as they start, which means look at the progression already as a father of 6 children from 23 down to 3 years old. I can tell you this from a personal experience, who has a degree in technology and feels ancient.
Yeah, no, agreed.
Because it grew that fast. It's just going to multiply and even faster. And so these younger children, as they get into the workforce, and as the young men and women who are in the workforce today have more opportunity to be innovative, we're not going to be able to catch up. So you better start wrapping around this and saddle up. Because if you don't grab that energy and start learning how to create that environment where they get to build what they want, we're going to lose the opportunity to be a part of something really great.
Yeah.
I guess that's where I'm at. And I love that some people do grab a hold of this, but I just, it's such a passion for me, Krista. You know that, like, so badly. I just want to help companies grow. And I work with marketing companies, and they're the worst sometimes because they get so defensive over this. I'm like, I'm not trying to take your job.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you think I want your job? You're crazy. I'm not a marketing company. I don't want your job. I want to teach you guys how to be better because you're not using the tools that are out there right now.
And
The
that's
system.
just some fear. That's just old, being in your own story loop about how it's being done. And that fear is keeping you from learning which direction it's going in. And that's okay. That's maybe a part of their process, but let's not stay there because we don't want to be buried in the time capsule because it's hard to get out of that space and you get left behind. And then you have to be even more innovative and bigger and stronger. And if you just would have shifted little by little, it wouldn't have felt like a whole world flip, right?
I agree. Look, I'm no future teller, but I'd say the next 24 months, we're going to see a lot of change. Like economy shifting, things are happening. There's always the environment of our world, you guys, and things will continue to change, and they're going to make a shift of things. And I think we're going to see it. We're going to see it dramatically. I'm excited about this year. I don't think there's anything negative, but I'm excited about the things that we're investing in, which is for people and giving them the freedom to grow. That's what I'm excited about. I'm excited about that we're investing more into our clients and teaching them how to be better equipped and giving them tools to do this themselves, like, and grow internally and build this type of culture and environment within themselves. So anyways, I'm excited for it. I love talking about it. And I was just really inspired by a post today and I'm like, this is great. I love it. And I wanted to really share. Listen, for you guys right now, if you're watching, share some stuff in the comments. Let us know, what do you want to see and what would you see as that perfect environment? What is the right place for you that it offers you the freedom that you're looking for in a freedom working type culture in your workplace? Do you have that today? That's the other thing, right? Do you have it? Share. Let us know. We'd love to hear about it. I would love to have more discussion about this because if you're in that place, then you're in a great spot. If you're looking for it, then reach out because there are ways that you can do this. If you have a passion in you, you want to learn more about how to get in and step into that. We would love to be able to share some ideas with you or point you in the right direction or say, hey, subscribe to our channel and watch more of these podcasts and share with people because we love talking about this. We love talking about this level of leadership and innovation and growth and personal development because this stuff matters, not in the foofy way, but in a way that says, hey, listen, we all got to work, pay our bills. How do we do our jobs? How do we do right for the employers that we're working for? How do we do right for the employees or the small business we've built, but still grow and grab a hold of what's happening, the change that's happening, and be better from it. So anyways, I hope that this conversation mattered to you, Krista.
I love it.
You and your freaking.
I don't know.
I don't know. I can't do it either. I don't know. Yeah.
Turned off.
I know. I don't know. Sometimes
I have one screen on and my phone on silent. I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. I just giving you a hard time. All right, listen, we're gonna go wrap this up. Thank you so much for being here, Chris. As always, I love you. You're great. Thank you so much for being here and being a part of this and sharing your story and offering what you have as well. I hope that there's some women out there that are really considering, hey, I think I can do more and I have something better to offer. If you guys want to know more about it, get a hold of Krista, reach her on her page. You can find her right here on LinkedIn or on her Facebook page, and it's K More Macro, and you can get a hold of her more. What's the coaching program?
It's called K More Coach Academy.
Okay, pretty simple. K More.
More coach. You want more, my friends? I'm ready for you.
More Krista. So anyways, as always, we appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Listen, next week, we have a special repost. We will not be live because we will be at the event, the American Clean Power event in San Antonio, but we will be posting one of our favorite shows for you guys next week that you guys will hopefully get value out of. I'm not going to tell you which one it is, but I promise you it is the biggest one we've had where you guys got the most value out of it. And Krista and I had the most fun. So I can't wait to see you guys again. But every Thursday right here, 1 p.m. Central Time, we go live and we bring you what we can to bring as much value as possible. You guys have a great day. God bless. And we will talk to you very, very soon. See you next week.
Bye, y'all.